filter goes a long way in the morning, right? And for different news, this would be great. It could really add something, I think. Let's just go. I really feel like I need this filter this morning. Just like a little something. Just a little something to get us going. We've had a little bit of a tough 24 hours. We smashed a snow globe, which if anyone has attempted to clean up a smashed snow globe, you realize that it's really challenging, to say the least. But we made it. We also just broke a reindeer's antlers, so we're struggling with the Christmas decorations, truth be told. And I don't know about you guys, but over the weekend, I was totally struggling keeping up with what is exactly happening inside the White House, because there's been so many different headlines. You turn on the radio or the television and someone's like midstream talking about it and no one's really explaining what's going on. So I'm just gonna take a couple minutes this morning to talk about that, because I think it's one of the biggest news items. And I kind of want everyone just to like take a deep breath. At least that's what I learned after doing some research last night. So let me just set the stage for you guys. They're watching hunting videos over there. So here's what's going on. Basically, a couple weeks ago, well, I should say for the last several months, there's been questions about whether or not the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, is going to stay on the job. And these rumors have been rampant, but who really knows what the truth is? And so I just want you to keep that in mind. On Friday, what happened was there were a bunch of memos that the special counsel that's investigating Russian collusion in our elections for 2016 came out with. And all these memos had a lot to do with different people that have been involved in the case that are, or in the investigation, that are going to face some sentencing this week. And we're going to learn more about, you know, what sort of punishment they're going to get for the crimes that they have pled guilty to. They include the former president, the former campaign manager for President Trump, Paul Manafort, and of course his business associate and personal lawyer, Michael Cohen. And of course, also mixed in there is Michael Flynn, who was a national security advisor for a long time. So you're going to learn more about that this week, and we're going to cover more of it. But these are memos, kind of filings coming out ahead of some of these bigger events. And so these filings for legal analysts are raising all sorts of questions. So hold that thought in your mind. That happened Friday night. On Saturday, the president comes out and says, you know what, our Chief of Staff, John Kelly, is going to leave the job end of the year. And so then that brings up all these questions. Well, who's going to serve this position? Why is Chief of Staff important? The same reason an office manager is important. I mean, to be honest, this is the person that's really kind of the gateway to the president. He's offering a lot of advice. He's also sort of managing the office overall. So it's a very crucial position. And the timing of this is important. Why is it important? Well, the president's going to go into full-blown re-election mode coming into next year. And you have the results of the special counsel investigation likely to come within the next year. So this person that's going to be very close to the president is going to be important for advising him in all sorts of ways. Who will be the replacement for John Kelly? No one knows. Okay, keep that in mind. So getting back to the special counsel investigation, what should you know about what everyone's talking about? And there's these folks that are throwing around the term impeachment. These are impeachable offenses by the president. Well, I think what you should know is two things. Number one, the talk of impeachment is coming about because the Democrats are going to control the House of Representatives come January. And who controls impeachment proceedings? The House of Representatives. So there's a lot of politics involved. Now, someone can be impeached by the House of Representatives and still maintain the role as president. That happened to Bill Clinton. And the reason that he was able to do that is that the Senate decides then, well, what do we do with this person that has been impeached? That person could be a judge. It doesn't have to be president. And so the Senate then is sort of like the judge and jury of what happens next. So the House of Representatives can impeach somebody, but the Senate really controls their fate. So that's why there's all this talk about this right now, because you have these politicians that are really sort of positioning themselves, and we know there's been talk about, you know, what the president did or didn't basically since he took office. The questions that are raised in these memos that I think are really important go back to a couple key questions. You know, what were the business dealings between Russia and the president's team ahead of the election and after the election? Was there anything inappropriate there? There's questions about campaign finance violations, where we know that the president paid for certain non-disclosure agreements. Is that legal? Was that legal to do? These are the questions that are being raised. right now, the number one takeaway you should know is that regardless of the information released by the special counsel, two things. Number one, the president has never been named in a crime or named as, in an indictable offense. That's not happening. And we have no evidence that Russia colluded with members of the administration before or after the 2016 election. We have no evidence of that yet. That's supposed to be the goal of this special counsel investigation. So I know that's a lot, but I just want you to know that while people are throwing around these different accusations, there's still no evidence for it yet. And I know, just like you're like, well, when are we going to get the evidence? I mean, it's been a long time. And the bottom line with that is no one knows. We don't really know. There are indications that perhaps the special counsel, because these key witnesses are going to be sentenced, and so that's kind of like a check mark, like, okay, they're done. Like, we got it. We got what we need from them. That we might be getting closer to the end of this, but I mean, to be honest, I've heard that for the last year. So who knows? So I just think these are the things that are going on. You have a major staffing change at the White House right at a crucial time. You have some more information coming from the special counsel. What that information means, we don't really know yet in relation to the president. There you go. I hope that's helpful. I know it's not the easiest thing to follow. So those are a couple things I think you should know about the White House. I was looking into the chief of staff position, and from what I can see, no woman has served that role, which I thought was pretty interesting. It goes back to 1939 and FDR, right before, well, really the start of World War II, and that's when the chief of staff position became something in the White House. So it's not even 100 years old. Also pretty interesting. And one thing I think you should know is that the chief of staff earns roughly $170,000 a year, which is about 21 people in the White House earn right now that are in their top positions. So that's what they're making. Kind of interesting. Okay, guys, a couple different quick quotes. Check out our website for a little smattering of different news that I think you should know. Bad winter storm in North Carolina. We're going to pay attention to the stock market today too, because of a lot of volatility. There's a big question about, what does the economy look like and what does the stock market look like going into the new year? So don't worry, we're paying attention to that for you guys. And then let me know, should the filter be a thing? I think so. Just for the good. If it's there, if technology is there, don't you think we should just use it? We're using it right now. Have a great day, guys. And hopefully, no smash snow bullets. That's what I'm hoping for you.